Hey everybody, hello Ducks fans. Just want to give you my personal thoughts and reaction to our Anaheim Ducks protected list that was unveiled on Sunday this week for the July 21st NHL expansion draft that will be conducted by the 32nd expansion team, the Seattle Kraken, which will be held Wednesday, 2 days before the NHL entry draft. So my personal like views on this is that I was not surprised at the players the Ducks have chosen to protect, but I was much a bit surprised at the players the Ducks choose to protect and they choose to leave on the unprotected list or availability list, as they now call it. Uh, Used to be called the unprotected list 28 years ago when our mighty Ducks, Anaheim Ducks, were entered the NHL and began the formation of their inaugural roster. Anyways, the Ducks chose 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goalie. So, looking at the players they have selected to be protected, let's look at it right now. I mean, for a goalie, the Ducks chose to protect 1 goalie, John Gibson, which was basically a no-brainer because he has been the best player about like for our team for the past few years. So his caliber and building on a bright future with him tells you a lot why the Ducks chose to protect Gibson, or Gibby as many local Ducks fans call him, with his past accomplishments from winning the William Jennings Trophy to uh, winning World Junior Gold, you name it. So it wasn't a surprise the Ducks choose to protect John Gibson. For defense, it was also a no surprise. The Ducks chose to protect Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, and Josh Manson, 3 defensemen. Now, why they choose these three is, of course, 2 things. One, Drysdale is exempt from uh, being selected in this year's NHL expansion draft. Two, having these three is basically you are having 3 veteran D men who will hopefully come the 2021-2022 season will help mentor the next generation of Ducks defensemen, no matter whoever it may be. Um, Once the expansion draft, the entry draft, and who knows, the free agency concludes. So Fowler, Lindholm, Manson was a no surprise to me. Going to the 7 forwards now. Here is where things really make me a bit surprised. A bit, okay. Uh, Having the Ducks protect Jones, Lundstrom, Steele, and Terry. Those four uh, is, of course, it's a no surprise. The Ducks are moving towards a youth-oriented infusing the youth, those players under the age of 25, into the rank and file roster of our team. So even though that at least Lundstrom, Jones, and Steele are still RFAs, are not signed yet, but hopefully will be signed. As many of us know, the Ducks MO, they always focus on their restricted free agents more so than their UFAs. It is basically no surprise. What really does surprise me one bit is protecting Nicholas Delorier. And like many of you, I was curious. I was wondering why. I mean, why would you protect an enforcer, D'Lo, as many local fans call him? And in the pursuit of my personal opinion, I'm like curious and a little bit confused. Why would the Ducks do this? Now, of course, this is Bob or Stubborn Bob's decision. I mean, you know, it would be better if the Ducks have basically put Alexander Volkov on that protected list because one, he's a young guy. Two, they recently have signed that guy a 1 year contract extension. So leaving him unprotected is just I really don't know. So uh, Ricard Raquel and Jakob Silverberg. Now these two players, there's been rumors regarding trades and regarding Raquel being a subject of trade rumors, and Silverberg, whether or not if his health status or if he's on the path to recovery once the puck drops for the 2021-2022 season remains to be seen. So there's been debate about why the Ducks protected Silverberg and whether or not it should have gone to, like, say, another player, like, say, Danton Heinen, who has proven himself worthy of the Ducks D and who has proven himself a worthy contributor to the Ducks cause going forward in hopefully regaining the Stanley Cup and bringing honor and glory back to our team and back to the communities of Orange County, California. So Silverberg is basically another debatable question for some Ducks fans. Raquel, who knows? Who knows why? I mean, I have no. I'll give you my personal opinion. I was not surprised the Ducks would protect a veteran like Raquel. I mean, Raquel, whether or not if he is basically lacking that intensity or not, or just basically just being a little laid back, it remains to be seen. If he can just like have a jump start season, hit the ground running, maybe he would have been, you know, it would have been explained why the Ducks decided to protect Raquel in that protected list. So, all in all, or all together, the Ducks protected 11 players, 7 forwards: Nick Delorier, Max Jones, Isaac Lundstrom, Rickard Raquel, Jakob Silverberg, Sam Steele, Troy Terry, Cam Fowler, Hampus Lindholm, Josh Manson, and John Gibson. So basically, it's the list that we expect. Okay, we have a few surprises. So what more can we um, say? Because the Ducks have that mixture of youth and experience. Those are two important ingredients. And this protected list is basically the character and the mixture that is very important for not just the Ducks, but for all sports teams. Now, let's get on to the unprotected list. And if sorry for saying that, that's basically what it was called back then during the 1990s. So, the availability. And I do not need to tell you who is on this availability list that I have in front of me. Okay, there are some names the Ducks have chosen to left exposed or available for Seattle Kraken to just take a gander or look at, or that sort of thing. So everyone from David Backus, who's will be hanging it up soon. Who knows if he wants to decided to like make it official, call it quits. Uh, Ryan Getzloff, the Ducks captain for the past 16 seasons and years. So Derek Grant, aka Elite 1C, aka whatever nickname you want to call him, who knows? Danton Heinen, Adam Henrique, Sonny Milano, Carter Rowney, Alexander Volkov, Trevor Carrick, and Sam Carrick, the Carrick brothers, Brandon Gooley, Hayden Fleury, Jacob Larson, Josh Mahara, Kevin Shattenkirk, Andy Wininski, Ryan Miller, who's now retired. I'm guessing they just left him there because, hey, certainly the Kraken is, or the Squidheads are probably like backing off because why put him there anyway? Who knows? Anthony Stellaris. So, looking at all these names and looking at all these players I see, we can be very understanding and we should not be disappointed or shocked because we know that our Ducks will lose at least one player in this expansion draft. It will basically be the fifth time that they will lose a player in the expansion draft. Considering that the Ducks have at least um, done this before in having an unprotected list and a protected list during the 1998, 1999 to 2000 and the 2017 NHL expansion drafts, seasons and years prior. So we should not be surprised if say Seattle, the Squidheads decide to take a gander and look at some names that have been heavily rumored to be on the trade block. So, looking at this list, again, some surprises, but rather not, I will not like get into details, but I'll tell you one thing. Adam Henrique and Jacob Larson, two names. Two names that, in my personal opinion, I've mentioned it a few times on the Ducks message board. I would rather have those two be part of a trade deal, a trade package to get some draft picks, futures, or whatever hockey fans want to call it these days. I would rather see them be in a trade deal. It would be better than say losing them to the Squidheads for nothing. I mean, it's a possibility that we may lose Adam Henrique or Jacob Larson or Alexander Volkov or Hayden Fleury. Kevin Shattenkirk, it's a long shot. It's a long shot to see what happens. I know that most of you would love to see Shattenkirk be claimed, considering the fact that I know he is very polarizing, and people have debated on whether or not if the Ducks have made a good signing. Look, I'm not going to take sides. I know most of you love that signing. Some of you do not like that signing, and others have just say, "Meh." So whether or not, or whether whatever happens in the NHL expansion draft of this week, we should also know that whoever the Squidheads select, it would lessen the budget on our team, create more cap space. So a lot of you have suggested Henrique or Rico would be the one that many of you are hoping to the Squidheads select. Others believe it would be Larson. My personal opinion is that I would rather much have them in a trade deal. But of course, stubborn Bob would basically do something that's very ignorant. So I can see that happening. Now, many of you, or not many, some of you are hoping that the Squidheads don't take Getzlaf. I don't think the Squidheads will take Getzlaf. Getzlaf, I'm sure, is settled down in Orange County, California. He has a family, a loving and beautiful wife, um, 4 kids. I'm not getting into details, but he is very much content of raising a family and playing for the Ducks once again. Whether or not it would be in a captain's role or a mentor role, who knows? It really comes down to the Ducks giving him some space, and Seattle, out of respect, hopefully will pass by him and select one of these players on the availability list the Ducks have made. Now, speaking about the Squidheads, and yes, I will call them Squidheads, just like I call them the Magnetos on the Ducks message board. The Squidheads will play in the Pacific Division. I believe and I hope, to goodness gracious, the Ducks do not take the Squidheads lightly when the puck drops, when they meet face to face. Why I say this? Why I say this is because this. Looking at the availability list of the 29 NHL teams, okay, there is a lot of interesting players that all 29 teams have made, okay? And many of you know what I'm talking about. I mean, let's see. I can read these names for you, man. Jeff Skinner from Buffalo, Milan Lucic, Michael Stone, Brock McGinn, Peter Mrazek. Let's see. Oh, here is a good one. J.D. Comfer, Gabriel Landeskog. Now, if the Squidheads select him, that will be a huge shift in the NHL Pacific Division. Let's see. Max Domi available. Andrew Cogliano, former Duck, aka Iron Man. Jamie Oleski, big guy. Viteri Fupila, okay, a veteran guy. Franz Nelson, Bobby Ryan. Alex Chason, James Neal, Tyson Berry, Alex Winberg, Rado Gudis, Martin Ferk, Oli Mata, Jonathan Quick, Nick Bustad, Nick Menino, Ian Cole, Gary Price, Paul Byron, Corey Perry, okay? The former Duck right there. Rocco Gomali, Matt Duchene, Eric Waugh, AJ Greer. You got PK Subban is made available. Josh Bailey, Jordan Eberle, Vladimir Tarasenko. The list goes on. I name most of these players because they are big name players. And say if the Squidheads take a huge gamble on, say, selecting Subban, Price, Quick, Eberle, Bobby Ryan. I mean, my goodness. Artem Arminisov. Sorry if I butchered the language. Or James Van Riemsdyk, Shane Gosterberry. I mean, I'm looking at all these availability lists, and to be honest with you, I don't know if you agree with me, but it feels more like a fantasy draft, just like the Magneto's fantasy draft. It's weird, but then again, we're living in a weird year, in a weird season. So, all of this, all these, I mean, it's going to shape what team our Ducks will face when the puck drops, when the expansion draft concludes, and when the entry draft concludes. Now, let's be honest. They're trying to set the Squidheads up to be kind of like the VGK, the Golden Knights, aka the Magnetos 2.0. The Ducks should not take this team lightly, no matter what they look like. And what they look like, we must take it to them. But whatever happens, okay, we should not take the Squidheads lightly. And the protected list the Ducks have, especially with the players they've decided to protect and the players they have left unprotected and exposed, is literally a gamble. Because the Squidheads could have their picks on whoever they want. They could decide to have Adam Henrique and pick him, or they could decide to have Jacob Larson and pick him. God forbid if they decide to go with, like the Ducks captain, Ryan Getzlaff, or even go with some of the younger guys, which would not be a surprise, but it will be a bit of a surprise. One thing is very clear. One thing is very important. The Ducks protected list is basically the blueprint for hopefully the bounce back, the revival, the reforms that our team so desperately needs. And in the coming days, on Wednesday, July the 21st, we would see who our Ducks will lose. And we should keep that in mind. Whoever Seattle picks, we should understand why Seattle picks. We should understand why the Ducks decide to leave this player available. So that's all I have to say in my first Ducks fan reaction video. If you like this video, click like or subscribe, or you click the thumbs up. If you really don't like this video, put the thumbs down. If you want to comment, go right ahead. I'm just a diehard Ducks fan, and I always love to communicate and talk to any of you guys. So, till then, we wait, and till then, I'll give you my thoughts.